Well, welcome back to the channel. It's been a little bit. For the past 8 days, I went on a family vacation to one of my favorite vacation spots, Hawaii, particularly on the island of Kauai. Had a blast, but now I'm back home getting ready for the elk hunt, which happens to be about 5 days away. So, in this video, you guys are going to choose the cartridge and rifle I'm going to take elk hunting this year. I've narrowed it down to 2 rifles, 3 different bullet options, 2 different calibers. So from right to left, we've got a 300 Weatherby, hand-loaded with a 175 grain Barnes LRX. We have a 200 grain terminal scent hand load in my 300 Weatherby. And finally, we've got the big boy, a 340 Weatherby Magnum loaded with the 250 grain AccuBond. Let's start with what I would call Mr. Reliable in my 300 Weatherby Magnum. My rifle has just loved the 175 grain LRX. Now, I've taken a whitetail deer in Wyoming with this load. Yeah, a little overkill. But man, this load is just so consistently good. I'm averaging around half MOA when I shoot this. Sometimes smaller, sometimes it's a little bigger, but it's always sub MOA and typically around half MOA. So what is the velocity with this bad boy? We're going around 30 to 30 feet per second, which is moving. Makes it really flat trajectory, especially at the elevation. I'll show you that with all the other bullet combos as well. It's a really good option. Option number 2 in 300 Weatherby. This is a 200 grain terminal scent. I have a friend that has a bunch of these. He sent me a handful of them. I created a load with H1000. The load's going around 3,100 feet per second. I've never killed anything with the terminal scent. I think it's a really cool bullet. Potentially one of the best hunting bullets ever made. So yeah, I'm really interested in maybe trying this out as well. Finally, we got the big boy, the 340 Weatherby Magnum. For those that maybe aren't familiar with 340 Weatherby, all it is a 300 Weatherby necked up to 338 caliber. Ballistically, this is really close to a 338 Lapua, and I'm shooting this 250 grain AccuBond mid 2,900 feet per second, which puts me at over 4,800 foot-pounds of energy. Really crazy amounts of power.
That's not fun, dude.
And while we're on the subject of 340 Weatherby, well, I've got to show you the rifle. Okay, here it is, the 340 Weatherby. And as you can probably see, this is a Mark V Deluxe. Beautiful, beautiful gun. This thing is just so pretty. Okay. I love the Monte Carlo stock. And then just, oh, it's such a beautiful stock. And I do love the high gloss blued steel. All right. So why would I be apprehensive about using a 340 Weatherby? Number one, dinging up, scratching up this stock. And I get the, the argument, like, why even have it if you're just going to put it in a safe, if it's going to be your safe queen. I get that. The other more logical argument is, while this rifle can be very accurate, it's just not as consistently accurate as my 300 Weatherby, especially that 175 grain Barnes LRX load that I have in that 300. There's nothing in this 340 Weatherby that can really consistently match that half MOA. Now, is this rifle plenty accurate for anything I take out to 400? Absolutely. Okay, here is the 300 Weatherby Magnum. This is just a plain Jane Vanguard synthetic, kind of really bare bones. It does have the heavier profile barrel, which definitely helps. I've got it threaded with a muzzle brake on it right now. However, one big thing that's kind of pushing me towards the 300 Weatherby is this last year I got a suppressor. I've never hunted with a suppressor, so I'm really tempted to use the 300 Weatherby. And as I said, this is a more accurate, more consistent rifle than the Deluxe. And it's just old reliable for me. Let's go ahead and look at the Ballistics where I'll be hunting at 8,000 feet with my 175 grain LRX. Again, muzzle velocity 3230. We are just over 4,000 foot-pounds of energy. 200 yards, bolts going 2941, 3361 foot-pounds of energy at 400. This is the farthest I would ever shoot, and honestly, I don't ever expect to shoot this far, at least on this hunt. My shots are going to probably be closer. But anyway, 2,670 feet per second, still plenty fast enough. 2,771 foot-pounds of energy. Whew. Yeah. And then we're doing this in MOA just because that's the type of scopes I have. Sorry, guys, I don't have a mil scope. 4.53 MOA at 400 yards when sighted in at 100, and 1.58 MOA in wind adjustment with a 10 mile per hour wind. Very good. Now let's look at the 300 Weatherby with the 200 grain terminal ascent. This bullet has by far the most BC, a G1 of over 6, a G7 of over 300. Muzzle velocity 3,100 feet per second, 4,268 foot-pounds of energy. Bolts going 2864 at 200, 3,644 foot-pounds. So already almost 300 foot-pounds more than the 175 LRX. At 400, 2641 feet per second. Still plenty fast enough to expand. And basically 3,100 foot-pounds of energy at 400. Okay, 4.85 MOA in drop. So the 175 LRX is a tad bit flatter, but this is a little bit better in wind. Finally, let's go with the howitzer, the 340 Weatherby, with the 250 AccuBond at 2,950 feet per second, 4,832 foot-pounds. Good gravy. At 200 yards, it's going 2713. So, you know, this is just going to go slower than the 300 Weatherby. We're shooting quite a bit heavier bullet. But the energy, holy cow, 4,085 foot-pounds at 200. And at 400, the bolt's going 2488 feet per second. Still plenty fast enough to expand. 3,436 foot-pounds of energy. Wow. Whew. That's like 7 mag at the muzzle at 400. And then 5.53 MOA in drop, so it is going to drop the most, and 1.95. Okay, make your comment now. What are we going with? 300 Weatherby or 340 Weatherby? Now remember, the 300 Weatherby will be suppressed, which will be a lot of fun for me. 340 Weatherby will not be suppressed. Thanks guys for watching. I'm real excited for this elk hunt.